All right, you guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. For today's video, we're going to be installing this Fumoto valve on the 2022 Subaru Outback Wilderness. So, like I said, we're going to be installing this Fumoto valve on the Outback Wilderness. This is the part number. It's the F108SX, and it's a two-piece kit that comes with a lock. A plastic lock. So before you guys give me crap about this one, yes, I know, I'm aware of the risks with installing this. So far from what I've seen online, a couple of the risks involve, one, the oil not draining all the way. So I believe from one video that I saw, there was about a cup left of oil after draining with the Fumoto valve, which honestly to me is not a big deal. A cup is nothing compared to the amount that you put in to begin with. There's that. And the other one is the obvious reason. This one in particular, I believe sticks out a little lower than the oil pan. I could be wrong, but we'll find out here in a minute. Yeah, you know, so if you go off-roading, overlanding and all that stuff, then you risk breaking this off or running over something and then this breaking and having all your oil spill. Yes, I'm aware of that, and I am willing to take that risk. And also, I ran a Fumoto valve on my WRX for 5 years, and that thing was bulletproof. Not one issue, no leaks, none of that. And I even lowered the WRX about an inch, so it was a lot closer to the ground than this will ever be. So with the Outback Wildernesses, they're about an inch higher than the standard Outback. So that plays into this, the benefit for this, because yes, just by looking at this, I can already tell that it'll be sitting a lot lower than the stock drain bolt. So again, I've had nothing but good experiences with the Fumoto valve. So if you don't feel comfortable doing this, then I would suggest not doing so. So just keep that in mind and do this at your own risk. So don't worry, I will link everything in the description below so you guys can check it out for yourselves. But inside the pouch, we have this right here. So this is the valve itself. And then you simply just drain the oil by opening it, just like that. See if you see that. That's how it drains. And then this is what actually bolts up into the oil pan, so just like that. And lastly, it includes this plastic locking clip, which goes on like this. It's a bit confusing, so pay attention here. You have the Fumoto logo facing up right there. So you want to take this, slip it right in between here. It's a bit tough to get it in there first, but there we go. So once that's locked, this thing prevents this lever from opening. And this is basically just a standard oil change. The only difference is that you won't be using the stock drain bolt. Instead, you'll be replacing it with this. So just some basic tools here. Got a 17 mil socket. And this cool thing that I picked up, which I will also link in the description, it's a magnet, which you can loosen up your drain bolt, plug this in, and then twist it so that it doesn't spill all over you. And also we have the 020 full synthetic. I know a lot of people are running 530, I think, but this is my choice because it's in the manual. And then lastly, we have the oil filter. Here's the part number for you all. And also real quick, if you have this oil filter, I suggest going to the Subaru dealership and buying this one. From what I've been seeing, these black Tokyo Roki filters are way better than these blue ones right here. So just keep that in mind. This is it right here. So let's go ahead and get started by draining the oil. Yep, still spilled. If this isn't a reason to get a Fumoto valve, then I don't know anymore. Yeah, so no matter what I do, it still just spills everywhere. So I don't know, maybe I pulled off the drain plug too fast here, but who knows. Luckily we have this waterproof, oil spill proof mat. Took the most of it, puddle right there, but there's, you know, a couple spots in the back which I will clean up. So yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this thing drain for a little bit longer. I'll pop off the oil filter and the cap, and then we'll get this thing installed. Forgot to mention that this does not include a crush washer. So you take off your old crush washer and then you bolt this directly onto the oil pan, just because it has these rubber seals right there. So keep that in mind. Do not use the crush washer. we're just waiting for this thing to drain, and then we'll go from there. All right, so I took this screenshot from Fumoto's site. So what it says is if you have the SX series, so we have the F108SX, F108SX, then our torque spec is 18 foot-pounds, so not tight at all. All right, so two ways to secure this bolt onto the oil pan. You could do a 10mm Allen, or like I mentioned earlier, the 17mm, which I will choose to do just like so. And then I'm just gonna torque it down to spec using my nifty tool here from Harbor Freight, so 18 foot-pounds. All right. So I don't hear it dripping anymore, so let's go ahead and get this thing installed. All right, so this is probably the best angle I can do for you guys. Now let's go ahead and secure this thing. It's dripping a little bit, but that should be good enough. Again, no crush washer. Fish this through the valve. Do not push it all the way in yet. And then you can start by hand tightening it. All right. So here's what I was saying earlier, where you can kind of decide where you want to place it or how you want to place it. I think that's good for me. Actually, it's not that much lower than I thought, and I'll get some final shots when I install it. Yeah, it's actually not bad. So let's go ahead and get this thing buttoned down. And just be very careful when you're tightening it. Yeah, make sure it sits flush. And make sure you tighten it until that O-ring is invisible, so it's in there. Do our best to tighten it to 18 foot-pounds. That's good enough. A little over, but no big deal. You just want to make sure that everything down here is clean. Let's test the function. I'm going to take out this locking clip. This is hard to take off, which I guess is a good thing. There we go. There we go. And obviously that's just the leftover oil that accumulated when I tightened this down. There we go. Probably less than a teaspoon. All right, so don't forget to close it. There we go. And then put your locking clip back on. And that should do it. So it's not gonna open because that blue thing is on there. There we go. Now that that's fastened, all we have to do is fill up the car with some oil and we should be good to go. All right, so this thing takes 4.8 quarts. We have a 5-quart jug here. All right, so the last thing to do is to verify that there are no leaks, but so far I think it looks good. Again, just make sure that the valve is seated flush against the oil pan right there. And just make sure that you can't see the rubber O-rings, so that means it's fully secured on there. And then I said I would show you guys the angle of this thing, and the good news is it's not as low as I thought it would be. So mind you, I do have an OEM skid plate that I installed, but if we go here, the valve is pretty much above this cross member, these cross members. So yeah, it's not as low as I thought it would be, which is, again, makes me feel a little better. I would say it's a tad bit higher than this brace right here. Yeah, that's good. I guess the chances of an object hitting exactly this thing, I want to say, are pretty slim. But if we look at it from here, you can't even see it. And again, that makes me feel a lot better, because I thought it was going to be like this low, you know, from what the people online were saying. So this is good, and I'm happy with it. All right, so just make sure to start the car, warm it up a little bit, shut it off, wait a few minutes before checking your oil level. After that, you should be good once it's in spec. And yes, I will be sure to update you guys later down the line, maybe on the next oil change if I need to. You know, if I spot a leak from the Fumoto valve, then I will be sure to update you guys. But that's gonna be it for today's video. Everything I used for this oil change and Fumoto valve install will be linked in the description. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one.